The tan midge merger is a super simple pattern. It's great for those days when there's a little bit of midge hatch going on, typically in the winter when they're going to be the most active bugs on the water. So we're tying it here on a size 16 nymph hook. Alright, we're using a uni thread. This is tan color and 136 denier and 6/0 weight. So we'll go ahead and start our wraps just behind the eye of the hook. And as soon as we have them secured, we're going to go ahead and tie in UTC ultra wire. This is gold ultra wire in small size, and we want to start it at the beginning of our tie-in point, because as we begin to wrap that wire back, it's going to help keep a really evenly tapered profile for this midge. If you start the wire too far back towards the bend of the hook, what you'll end up having is bulk at the bend of the hook, and then it'll get thinner as you go to the front. So we want to avoid that. And you'll notice that I'm only making one set of wraps going forward again, and this is going to be the entire profile of the midge. So it's really thin, slim profile. Once I've worked my way back up towards the eye of the hook with a thread, I'll go ahead and start making wraps with the gold wire to rib this midge. And these are fairly narrow wraps, evenly spaced, of course. We should be able to get about 6 to 7 wraps before we get up to the thread point. And we'll go ahead and tie off this wire, and then you can cut or helicopter your wire off. I like to helicopter it. It leaves a nice, clean break point. Plus, you won't dull up your scissors. So next, we're going to tie in our CDC. This is going to be kind of the wing case around the thorax area of this midge. And what I do is I usually pluck about 10 CDC fibers off of the quill, and then I'm going to twist the butt ends of them together to kind of help keep them in place when I tie them in. Didn't work too well on this, and so what I'll end up doing is I tie in right in the middle of the fibers, and then I'm going to pull back the butt ends as well and then tie over those. What that does is just double up the bulk of the CDC, because I didn't get as many fibers pulled off that quill as I wanted to. And it's okay if it's messy now, because we're going to trim these up. Make a couple wraps behind the CDC. That gives a nice 45-degree angle to the CDC, helps it stand up a little bit. And then we'll clean up the Aran fibers sticking out the front. So now we're ready to dub the thorax, and I'm just using brown hairline dubbing. You could also use peacock herl. I use that a lot as well. I think dubbing is more suitable for beginners, just because you don't have to worry about the peacock herl breaking. So I'll make a couple wraps in front, and then I'm going to make a wrap behind the CDC just to help it stand up a little bit more. As I finish up those wraps in front, you'll notice it pulls down that CDC. That gives that nice, probably about a 30-degree angle, lays it really nice across the back of the midge body. And then we'll go ahead and whip finish to clean up the head here. Make about a 4-turn whip finish to finish off this fly. Then you can break or cut your tying thread, and this fly is finished. At this point, you could add head cement if you want. I'm not going to on this fly. And then we'll just clean up a little bit of the Aran dubbing fibers. So let's see how this fly fishes on the water. The setup I've got is a Euro nymph dropper setup. I've got the midge on the right and then a rainbow warrior on the left there in my hand. We'll toss this guy out. And I'm fishing in early December on the Arkansas water, so it's a freestone, tends to ice up a lot. But we'll see a take here. And there's the take. If you're not familiar with Euro nymphing, we'll be doing another video on how I kind of have my rod set up and some of the techniques for Euro nymphing. You'll notice I don't use a sider line or an indicator. I like to keep my setup extremely simple, and it allows me to change to a dry fly setup or a wet fly setup really quick without having to change out leaders and siders and all that stuff. So we'll get this guy landed here in a second and show you what he took. Nice little brown. It's a little bit hard to see in the video, but he did take the tan midge off that dropper line. And one of the benefits of having your barbs crimped or pinched on your hooks is that a lot of times they'll just fall out and you won't even have to handle the fish a whole lot trying to get them out. This guy ended up wrapping himself a lot around with the line from my anchor fly. And they'll do that when you have a 2-fly or a 3-fly setup. So what I'm doing here is just kind of unwrapping that line from around his body. And then there's that midge, fell right out. And we'll get this guy back in the water. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked it, go ahead and click like and subscribe for more videos. They'll be coming out. We're going to try to put videos out weekly, so stay tuned.